What is up, guys? Today is gonna be talking about something that not too common because we always just emphasize on game. But today I want to take it a whole nother level. We're gonna be talking about Avalanche ecosystem and the games building on top of it, and what uh better way to have an audience share with you guys about the topic today. So I invited Trading Aloha, right? What is up, Trading Aloha? How are you doing?
What's going on, YP? I love it. Thanks for the reaching out and getting this all set up. I know we had some scheduling issues. Our time zones are wild, but it's gaming. We love to talk it, so we make it happen. And I just love being here.
Yeah, so for those of you who do not know Trading Aloha, there's gonna be a pop-up for his tag, but he's essentially ultimately the gaming growth marketing at AVA Labs. So there's no better person to talk about gaming on top of Avalanche, than Trading Aloha. So do you want to share with us a little bit about your daily routine and basically, what do you do on a daily basis, and ultimately what projects or what certain things that you're building right now?
Yeah, so the best thing I like about it is every day is different. So it keeps every day interesting, and I love gaming. Grew up as a gamer as like my core competency. So it's been great. So jumping on the team with Coop and Ed and Garrison has been fantastic at AVA Labs. So I wake up in the morning. First thing to do is check the news, check Twitter, check everything, make sure what's the narrative of the day. Is it going to be one of those days where we're in damage control and kind of figuring out how we can support the gaming narrative with stuff like Creator League drama? Or is it going to be a bullish day where we've got announcements and planned subnet releases that we just want to talk about and make sure that the awareness is spread? From there, bounce into Telegram, check in with all the teams, make sure that our support on the marketing side, as well as any other things they need, is being done for future events. And then internal chats, internal Slacks, all the things that come with working on a team, making sure that we're all working towards a common goal, see who needs help. And then most of the day is spent on and off engaging Twitter and the community, just making sure that the awareness is out there for Web3 gaming and just gaming as a whole. And we've put a lot of thought recently, on reaching out to other ecosystems and really into Web2 and just trying to be the thought leaders in the space and trying to create those discussions that really make people think, why is Web3 gaming going to be a thing? What's the importance of the tech? And really just focused on, not just, Avalanche winning for Web3 gaming, because it doesn't matter who wins at the end of the day. It's just a matter of making sure that Web3 gaming wins and becomes the standard. So after that, it's, planning future events like Korea Blockchain Week and what our presence is going to look like there. And then trying to, have some sort of work-life balance and limiting to 14, 15 hours a day. But it ends up being a 24-hour day job, which is perfect because I love it and that's what I'm used to. So it's a natural fit for me. So I don't mind the extra work, and I just love it. Every day is an adventure.
Sounds like you really have a deep passion for gaming, and that I can feel already that you really love your job. But yeah, I mean, those are really wise words. No matter who wins, ultimately we all want to see Web3 gaming to win as a whole, right? So props to you. But before we jump into the serious stuff, I actually want to talk a little bit about, growing up. What are some of your favorite games? Not even growing up, what are your favorite game titles of all time as a gamer?
Yeah, for me, it's always been, I've been an FPS guy to my core. I grew up playing games like Doom, Wolfenstein, Duke Nukem, GoldenEye, and that just kind of translated into the natural Call of Duty, Battlefield 1942, all the other stuff. So I'm still playing Call of Duty today. I was a big World of Warcraft player when it first came out for many years. My issue is I like to play at a competitive level. So 12, 13, 14 hours a day back when I had no responsibilities was easy to do. But now, got older, have a family, I can't dedicate that much time to an MMORPG. So it's hard for me to play casually. So I stick to games like Call of Duty where I can just jump in, play for an hour, and then be gone. I think
you can always teach your kids, right? You can pass it down.
They're getting there.
Okay, when they get there, hey, farm this coal, just mine here for 8 hours, go to the, deposit back to the bank, come back here, just do it for 8 hours. I'll give you $5.
That's it. Go to the auction house and start watching the supply and demand and just fill my bags up with gold and we'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a natural, right? For all gaming families, I foresee my kids. I'm like, what are you doing with the dishes? Stop doing that and go back to World of Warcraft and mine some coal. Awesome. Oh no.
But the only exception, I think, in my walking back from serious gaming is when GTA 6 comes out. I think I'm in trouble. I know I'm going to spend way too much time and get
We all are gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, and it's fine. I accept it, and that's where I'm going to spend all my time. So when that comes out, I think that's where I live for a while.
I love it. Yeah, I also noticed that you are wearing the Shrapnel hoodie. So
Yes,
shout out to
finally
Shrapnel.
got it.
Shout out Saigo and the team. You guys are killing it. Can't wait to play it. So yeah, I think let's jump a little bit deeper, in terms of AVA Labs, what you guys are building. Because why I actually want to bring Trading Aloha on for the audience of whoever's watching is actually Avalanche have been actually announcing really cool partnership, really cool stuff. For example, Merit Circle launched their own subnet. Is it called subnet? But their own network, right? It's called Beam, right? And there's just so many things happening. So I actually wanna bring Aloha. Can you just share with us like everything about what are the coolest things that are happening on AVA Labs right now?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you hit it first. I think Beam is a great one with Merit Circle kind of coming on board and bringing all the things that they do from an investment and like a gaming arm. So launching Beam is a huge win. They're going to have a ton of games on there. They've already got games like Walker World, Trial Extreme, Playhouse Rush. They recently announced that Rainy Lord's Light is going to move over to the Beam subnet as well. So it's going to be a place where
Mega Weapons
in talks.
That's a big one. That's a big
huge one. Yeah, I just played that for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I had a blast. So I think that's another huge win. So it's just going to be like a one-stop shop for a subnet where you can just on the back end you won't even realize it, but you've got a selection of games you can play and just have fun. And I think that's a huge win. It's going to be one of the first and best subnets we've got running right now as far as availability and playability. And it's real close to being ready to rock and roll. On another front, we've got the Avalanche Arcade program, which I think is a great initiative that started right when I came on board. They were kind of finishing it up back in March and April, and I think we announced it at 3XP in June is officially live. And basically the goal there is to connect Web 2 and Web 3 studios and just kind of leveraging the network and experiences that the AVA Labs team has to help onboard Web 2 studios to Web 3 without having to hire their own staff and do all the legwork that comes with, all the additional risk that comes with it diving into Web 3. So help them onboard to blockchain technology, give them like classes and education on marketing and tokenomics. Teamed up with economics design to kind of help do that as well. And it just gives a really good educational layout to help them explore the potentials of moving into Web3, and if they want to and when they're ready to, assist them in that without having to spend a bunch of money and put on additional risk. So I think it's a great program, and the more we roll it out and the more people that sign on to it, we've heard nothing but great things.
Yeah, I also want to add a bit on Arcade, right? I think, as a non-native Web3, it could be daunting and, you don't know where to start. I think for, games studios that are, looking to venture into Web3 gaming or using just not even Web3 gaming as a whole, like just a blockchain tech, I think, Arcade is a very good place to start. Like even recent the Zynga and also Sugar Town, right? Zynga team is coming, with a new title, Sugar Town. I think they took a long time to actually, I think a little over a year to figure out everything, So if you want to fast track your progress and you want to learn at the right place, I think Arcade, Avalanche Arcade is actually a very good place to start. So what else? What else?
So those are the biggest things right now. I mean, that's been the push because Arcade costs nothing for anyone to join, and it's just benefit. So it's all reward, no risk. So I love that, and it kind of goes with the trend as we see more and more of like the Asian studios sign on, and we know we're doing the right thing because we've seen it in the past with all tech innovation. As Asia kind of pivots to the next thing, then the West follows. And when we launched Arcade, it was like all the Asian studios were interested first and foremost. And it was like, okay, we're onto something. If that's initially where the interest is, then we know we're doing the right thing. And it's just a matter of time before we see some of the Western studios jump in as well, as we've seen in the past.
That's great.
On the other front, honestly, for us, we're trying to push more into, away from just being Avalanche specific. So yes, at the end of the day, we love to see more and more games on Avalanche, but we really just want to put ourselves out in the ecosystem as far as thought leaders and really just spread awareness and support everyone where we can. I think we've all lived through the change fratricide where we're all trying to tear each other down during the bowl to see who can get the most games, blah, 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 blah. We've lived through the bull, the bear, multiple cycles. At the end of the day, the end user is not going to care which chain they're on. But if Web3 gaming and the technology wins out, then there's room for multiple chains to win. And there's multiple. It's just like Xbox, PlayStation, multiple platforms. There's plenty, and people play all the time. And it doesn't matter really what platform backend is being used. They just want to have a good game and enjoy it. So we're trying to make sure that that's our first and foremost priority is the games being good and playable, and away from all the negative press that had associated with gaming in the past.
That's great. I love it, and it makes total sense as well. But I also want to talk a little bit as a growth marketing head for the gaming side of Avalanche. What are some of the strategies that you guys are I know like we try to have everyone winning, but there are some strategies to pull the games on Avalanche, right? But I just want to ask, like, how can you differentiate yourself from other chains? Because what I'm seeing is that there are a lot of games coming on Avalanche, right? And I'm just surprised, like, what are the reasons that attracted them there? For me as a curious individual, and also for the audience to know.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it has to do with the support that we try to give each game on an individual level. We know we've seen a lot of teams throw a lot of money around to get specific games on chain, and that's really not been like our priority. Like we have supported games financially in the past, and it made sense to do so. But when you look at the market conditions and economic conditions, it's really about finding those teams that are in it for the long haul, and then pairing up with the technology and making sure that the subnet makes sense for them, so they have that security and scalability to operate on their own with limited knowledge needed, because we have that support on staff that can be there 24/7, support them on the network. But also on the marketing side, like me and Coop and everyone who supports is in the trenches every day to make sure, like, if there's an issue with the team, like, we're going to go out and try to figure out a way to solve it. And we just go the extra mile. And a lot of the things we've seen in the past is, chains throw like a couple $1 million at a project, and they're like, okay, great. And they sign on, and then they need support, and it's hard to get a hold of somebody. And, we go on the personal level to make sure that we're doing all we can, and that we follow through on the promises that we give them when we say, hey, you should come to Avalanche, and this is why. And we make sure that when we say this is why, we actually do it.
The main differentiation of Avalanche is the subnets, right? So I think for a game, I think it makes sense to have your own network. You can have, run the whole ecosystem. For example, DeFi Kingdom have their own DFK chain, right? Ultimately, it's short from DeFi Kingdom, which is very cool, right? Yep. And it's efficient and it's fast as well. That's my opinion, because I play that game. I play the game on a daily basis. And the second one is actually, I can feel it that, Coop, Aloha, and the whole team, marketing team are really in the trenches and in the community, right? Whenever, a creator or, discussion and stuff like that, in the comments, you'll see their name. They are either giving, constructive feedback, or they're just supporting, or, a day in, day out, you just see them. This is not even a joke. Like, they don't have to do it, they just have to, but they still go the extra mile. So props to you.
I appreciate that, because it does go a long way to hear that, that it's being seen, because we're not doing it just to be seen. We really do want to have those discussions and talk with all the creators in the community, and just see how, if we can support, if there's a way we can do things better on the AVA Labs side, like how we can better support the community and the creators. So that's great to hear. And on your point to the subnet as well, I think, it's important to note that you absolutely agree with you that subnets do set us apart. But not every game needs a subnet. And if they don't need their own subnet, as we talked before, we can look and see what the best fit is. Maybe it's a great fit for them to be on Beam, and they have a subnet there, and they can just get rolled up into a conglomeration of other games. So there's different types of subnet solutions just based on each game's really.
But to be honest, right? Even if you don't need a subnet or stuff like that, I think, in my opinion, another strong point for Avalanche is actually that you guys have the gaming player base. So I think that itself is already very strong. The gaming community is actually very strong, and it is actually quite a lot compared to other networks, other blockchains and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we're getting there, and it's just a tough spot that we're in right now. Is this lull between the games that have come out over the past 8 to 12 months, and then the releases that they're supposed to be coming at the end of the year. And I think there's going to be a huge pivot point, probably December, January, February of next year, when we see games like Shrapnel and Off the Grid launch, and the potential for user acquisition there is monumental.
But hey, Paradise Tycoon and DeFi Kingdom have been killing it, bro. I don't know how, but shout out to Timo Youth and the team, right, from Paradise Tycoon. They, I think, have 300,000 downloads or something like that.
Sure.
And the founder, Timo, he was like breaking down on, okay, actually there's several ways in terms of user acquisition. That's a whole other topic, for the whole Web3 gaming, whoever's building games, to learn about that. So I actually reached out and I really wanted to learn from him, because that's really crazy. Like, what do you think about Paradise Tycoon doing those numbers in this current situation right now?
They've been doing the right thing, because from 200,000 to 300,000 didn't take them very long. I feel like it was only a couple months ago when they announced that they had crossed the 200,000 barrier, and then to add another 100,000 users during this kind of market is impressive. The game's still not even at full release, so that's even more impressive. So it's great, and I had a chance to jump in and play it a little bit, and it was just a fun kind of game to play that didn't take a whole lot of time, but it was interesting and different. You don't see that many games out there that is easy to pick up, especially on mobile, like Paradise Tycoon. So they made it easy to download, install, and just play. And I think the more we get into you're right, user acquisition is like a multiple recording topic. So it can go real deep, and it's tough. And no one solved it yet, because if they have, then we would just all be winning right now. But they're on the right path.
Yeah. Like just crazy numbers and performance during the bear market. And one last thing before I jump into another topic is actually, I noticed, I'm not sure if it's your idea or the team idea, but I noticed that Avalanche is actually going into so many different summits, so many different gaming expo conventions that not other blockchains are doing. Right? For example, you guys even hit China Joy. Avalanche is the only blockchain booth in China Joy. And for those of you who do not know, China Joy is actually the biggest gaming convention in Shanghai, China. The footprint over 3 days or a week, I forgot, was around 300,000 and above. So can you share with me, like, why are you guys pushing so hard? Like, I don't see other chains doing it. Why is Avalanche going into almost every single event?
Yep. Yeah, no. When I came on the team in March, they had just done GDC, and they had done it in a big way. And I think that was one of the first events where they went full steam and were like, we're going to be a presence here. We want to get out. We want to show people that, we're here, and these are the faces of Avalanche and Avalanche Gaming. And I think it's important, because it goes back to exactly what we said, where we're not just throwing money around. We're there to support the game. So when we have a booth, we want to make sure that we're displaying the games, going the extra mile for our partners, and just showing them that, we will go to whatever lengths we have to make sure that we're supporting them from a marketing standpoint, a development standpoint, and a tech standpoint. And not only the games that we have, but other people and games in the community to say, hey, Avalanche is out there in the streets every single day at every event, and we're not going anywhere. We're not just this talk of, on the internet, like, we're supportive and this is what we're going to do, but then you don't see us anywhere, because that doesn't do anyone any good. We're here for the long term, and one of the strategies of the team was to make sure that we are seen out there and continue to be seen out there, because that's where our priorities are, is to support the game, the ecosystem, the industry, and just try to be those thought leaders in the space, both on Twitter and in person.
I love it, man. Like, I'm not even joking, right? When I say they are at every single convention, like right now as we speak, the team is at Korea Blockchain Week, and next week I'm gonna be meeting the team at Singapore Token 2049. So, who knows? After that, they might have plans to go Japan and so on, right? I don't know, but you know, will
And
will you guys will you guys be at Japan, the Tokyo Game Show?
we'll have presence there for sure. Absolutely. We're planning on being everywhere. I think, we're even going to have a presence, not as a display vendor, but we'll be at TwitchCon as well, just out there meeting the creators in the community. I think that's one of the...
But guys, let me tell you guys, Asia is going to be leading the gaming
Always.
bull run. Okay. I'm going to say it. Asia is going to be leading the gaming bull run. So, the fact that Avalanche did not ignore this and actually double down on this is very much respected.
Well,
all right, now
I appreciate that you noticed that, because it has been a priority to make sure that we're out there at these events to make sure that people see that
because I talk to many games on the daily basis, and not just games but blockchain. And sometimes I ask them if they have the presence of like going this event or that event. And when I ask about events that are really, really important, for crypto and the whole of Web3, and some of them say, "Oh no, we won't be there." I was like, "Why? Why not? Like, you guys are supposed to be there. You guys are supposed to be upfront, But that's something that I really noticed. So.
And I think it's important because a lot of the games don't have their own marketing budget that some of these larger games do. So they don't have the ability to showcase themselves and get themselves out there. So if their partners aren't going to these events, then they're not being seen and their awareness isn't being spread. So it's for everywhere. It's just out.
All right, Aloha. Time for the good stuff.
Oh, we haven't talked about good stuff yet? I thought that was all good stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything's good stuff, but like the fun stuff is actually the games, right? Okay. All right, guys. So right now we are actually going to be interrogating Aloha's top 5 games on Avalanche, because why? There's so many games building on Avalanche. I actually want to find out what are some of his favorite games, and of course, 2 bonus games that he's currently playing right now, not on Avalanche, just Web3 gaming as a whole. So, Aloha, take it away.
Yeah, so for me, and these are my personal top 5 games. I'm sure others have different opinions, but for me, it kind of just matches my play style. And first and foremost is Shrapnel on my end. Like, I can't wait. I've had the operator since they minted on Ethereum way back in the day. Before I was even part of the team, and I just love the whole idea of extraction shooters and ownership of your own assets and being able to collect skins and guns and everything that comes along with that kind of stuff. So I'm pumped for Shrapnel with the early release coming probably at the end of the year for some of those operator NFT holders that I will definitely be partaking. So that is by and far my number 1. That is close to complete, and I can't wait to jump into.
Awesome. What's your number 2? I'm gonna pull it up.
Number 2, I think I'm gonna have to stay in the same realm and go with Gunzilla Off the Grid. I think they have a different style, being the third person kind of extraction shooter that we just saw the trailer released a couple weeks ago. That is in their early stages, and I think the game has a ton of potential. There's a great marketing plan behind it as well that I cannot wait to see when they finally release it. And it's gonna be tough for me to bounce between Shrapnel and Off the Grid, but I think for the same reasons I like Shrapnel, I do really love the potential that Off the Grid has. It's I view it for my play style. I kind of look at it as like a Call of Duty and a Battlefield. I bounce between the two all the time because the different types of play styles suit me a little bit different. So I'll play Shrapnel, Off the Grid kind of exactly the same.
Do you want to talk a little bit about Gunzilla Studios? Like for those of the people that don't know about it.
Yeah, so the Gunzilla Studios team and what they're building with Off the Grid, like I don't know how familiar you are with Neil Blomkamp, who was the director for District 9. So they've got a lot of talent on the team and have spent a lot of money and time developing Off the Grid. And it's a different kind of cyberpunk style that's really, we see a lot of these first-person extraction shooters, and they're kind of moving into the third person. which is a little bit different, which I think makes it a little bit more unique. And it's also going to be like, PvE and a PvP in the same kind of environment. So it keeps it much different enough so that, it caters to different audiences. And I think there's an enormous amount of potential with the game itself.
That's awesome. And guys, this gameplay trailer was actually released during Gamescom, which is one of the biggest gaming convention around the world. But this one was in Berlin, Germany. So that's pretty cool. And IGN was also helping to share this gameplay trailer. What's the
third one I like, and I've been playing a lot, is Rainy Lords of Light. They're transitioning over to the Beam subnet as well. And they've done a lot of marketing and partnerships with Blue Mint, who has run a lot of their tournaments in the past. So, it's a fun kind of trading card game where, it's kind of similar to Parallel, but, it's focused more on, cryptocurrency and blockchain type characters that are involved in the cards, and the animations and graphics are really smooth. And it's really easy to pick up and play.
And not only that, this one is free to play on Epic Game Store. So that's another ad.
Just recently launched on Epic Game Store, and they're also having a free-to-play tournament on I believe it starts on the 29th of September. I think it's a $10,000 tournament you can sign up for over on Blue Mint. So it's a great way to just get your feet wet in the game. You don't need to have anything other than the game itself to play, and it's free. So I'd highly recommend checking it out. I have a great time playing it, and the tournaments I've played have gone off without a hitch. So it's fun. Nice. It's a really good. It's a lighthearted game, and it's a fun time to play.
What about number 4?
Number 4, I think it appeals to the competitive player in me. It's Battle for Geostone, another MOBA that we haven't seen a lot of, blockchain MOBA type games, but it is playable. It is free to play. You can jump in and just get started right away. They've got their own matchmaking bot within their Discord that they've been tweaking and developing over time. And it works really well. And they've just recently started both a daily and monthly leaderboard that has a prize pool. So you can just kind of jump in, play around, get used to the game. It doesn't cost anything, but have the potential to, learn how to play. If you're a mobile player, it gives you something to, strive to excel at. And they've really been developing their esports partnerships. So as the game continues to get better and grow, it's just going to become one of those really trendsetters in the space, because you don't see many MOBAs on the blockchain right now. Yeah,
and I also know that the co-founder 1437, he was a Dota 2 pro, and this game is actually inspired by Dota 2 as well, to have the MOBA. You guys can see the artwork is very much more real. It's much more real and very similar to Dota 2 as well. So very cool.
Yeah, and I think the fifth one, and it's not ready for release yet, but I think as we've just kind of recently announced their move to Avalanche's RumbleCon League, which is more of a sports-based, basketball 3v3 game. I am patiently waiting to get my hands on that as a playable as well. I've been always was a big sports fan as far as gaming goes, from Madden to NBA Jam, and RumbleCon just kind of fits that exact parameter for me. And then if we're going to talk non-Avalanche games, the two that I'm playing right now, obviously everyone is playing, is Parallel. I've had a great time getting my butt kicked as the game kind of develops. I've jumped in just on the free-to-play side. I haven't picked up any Prime or NFTs or anything. But I'm still able to compete and unlock the cards and just have a general good time learning kind of what the current meta is within Parallel. So as they kind of open it up to more players as far as testers and who has access to the game, it's definitely worth checking out. The game is pretty seamless, doesn't have many issues. It's fun to play. Their matchmaking is pretty good. They don't have a huge player base yet, but it is exponentially growing from my understanding. And the MMR has been getting better. I'm not getting paired up with like the Masters as a gold player anymore and getting smashed. I'm actually having a good time.
That's great. That's great to hear. All right. What is your last bonus game then?
Bonus game, and I only have a chance to play it at 3XP, and I am waiting for the full release, is My Pet Hooligan. I think the game, it's a different style of FPS that I just like. And I like the animation. I like the characters. I just like the gameplay. And it was just a fun time. It was a good game to trash talk. And it was fun. And
this game is so hectic, and it is absolutely in your genre as well, because you're such a huge FPS gamer, right? So fits perfectly.
Yeah, I love it. I had a great time. I played it at least 5 or 6 times at 3XP, and I had fun. So it made my list of, as soon as I can get my hands on it on like a console or even on PC, that I would play it again.
All right. And that concludes it, guys. This is Trading Aloha's top 5 games on the Avalanche, as well as 2 bonus games in the overall Web3 gaming. So yeah, man, thank you so much for sharing this.
Well, thank you. This was, I have fun. I love these. I love them. I love talking gaming, all things gaming. So it's been a blast.
So Trading Aloha, I actually want to ask you, in your perspective on what do you think, or where do you see Web3 gaming going in the next 10 years?
Yeah, I think 5 to 10 years from now, we shouldn't even be having really the conversation of where Web3 gaming is currently. I think it should just be the norm. I think it should be seamless, where it is just kind of the back end that people just don't really care about, because it just happens seamlessly. There's no need to worry about how do you on-ramp fiat, how do you manage a wallet, where are your assets, where are they housed, where are they stored. It just should be a seamless experience for the player, and that the only people that are worrying about that stuff are the developers and people on the back end. And there is less of a conversation of that from the player's perspective. And it's more about the games that are in development, exactly how we look at Web2 games. What's coming out? Why is it cool? What's different about it? And there is no real discussion of issues between owning NFTs. Is there NFTs in game? Is there a token? It should just be a non-issue. And I'm hopeful that the tech wins out long term, and it doesn't become a discussion of tokens and earning and all this other stuff.
Do you agree with this statement that Web3 gaming will become just gaming?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
That is my hope and dreams, yes.
All right, what about, how I see it is Web3 gaming is as a whole industry, right? And there will be subcategories, right? Do you think that GameFi will actually continue to, strive in this subcategory?
It can. Yeah, I think there's a place for it. And I think as we learn more about sustainability and tokenomics and how to create a sustainable economy in a Web3 space in a GameFi way, that there will definitely be those games that thrive within GameFi and that are built for that specific purpose.
In my opinion, DeFi Kingdom is going to strive in that subcategory, the GameFi category, and will ultimately be a leader in that category, in my humble opinion. Yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's all the questions and time we have for today. I really appreciate you, Aloha, for taking your time to come on, to make an episode with me and to share your knowledge and insight. And of course, what you're doing on a daily basis is very much appreciated. I thank you on behalf of the whole Web3 gaming community. And ultimately, guys, make sure to follow, Make sure to follow Avalanche Gaming as well as Trading Aloha on Twitter. And if you guys want to check out their website and stuff like that, I'll link it down below. But yeah, any last words from you?
No, thank you. I mean, you have done so much for the community as a whole. So, when I first started, I was in the trenches on Avalanche, but I've always seen your name pop up, and you were one of the ones that, I first reached out to. Just to start that relationship and kind of continue to build that. And you've been responsive and always been there with like an honest feedback opinion, whether it's, we're doing good things or bad things. So I appreciate it. And for all those out there as well, like my inbox and DMs are always open. Please reach out anytime, Avalanche specific, non-Avalanche specific, Web 2, Web 3. I don't care. I just like to talk gaming. So always open to chat.
All right. Next time we'll bring Trading Aloha back, and we'll dive deeper in terms of topics like user acquisition in Web3 gaming and so many more amazing topics as well. But yeah, thank you so much, and signing out.
Thanks, YP.